focus now. West Ham midfielder Lucas Paquetá has been cleared of spot-fixing charges by an independent regulatory commission almost 2 years after the FA launched an investigation into him. The chief sports reporter for The Times, Martin Ziegler, says it's been a life-changing experience for the player.
He was first put under investigation and told that he was under investigation in August 2023. That's nearly 2 years ago. It was May 2024 before the charges were brought, and it is only now, more than a year after that, that he now has the outcome. It's cost him a move to Manchester City, who were prepared to trigger the 85 million transfer release clause in his contract 2 years ago. That didn't happen. That was also a big blow for West Ham United. So you're right. It has been life-changing.
Life-changing, but not in the right way as far as Lucas Paquetá is concerned. Those are the views of Martin Ziegler, while Simon Jordan thinks it's going to be interesting to see what Paquetá does next.
We will see. If he doesn't sue, you'll have to ask yourself why he doesn't sue.
Okay.
And why you don't sue is because perhaps when you get into the details of suing somebody for something, more disclosure has to be brought forward, and then things become a little bit more convoluted, and the burden of proof or the burden of obligation of exonerating yourself might be slightly more difficult. But in the fact that he has, if we are to believe these reports, and quite frankly why they're in the public domain right now as a result of, I would imagine, some form of confidentiality being required of these sort of things, and it's the court's job or the arbitration panel's job in this instance to determine or to detail the verdict. It doesn't seem to be the case since we briefed it into the media now. It'll be interesting to see what he does next and what West Ham do with him next, and where it goes and what challenges await him as a result of this. I don't know if it's going to be an exoneration, but it's certainly going to be somebody who's not being found guilty.
Yeah, well, it certainly was a case of the main charge being not proven. Now, let's see if we can find out what might happen to Lucas Paquetá next. We're joined by his lawyer, Alastair Campbell. Morning, Alastair.
Good morning, Alastair.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Gabby.
With the first blindingly obvious question, Alastair, is we know the law moves slowly. How the heck can it take 2 years from the launch of an investigation to the conclusion of that investigation?
It's a good question. I think the complexity of this case is unprecedented. We had a hearing of almost 4 weeks to go through the mountains of information and evidence, and that takes a long time to get together, and it takes a long time to respond to. So in some ways, it's almost not surprising that it's taken that long.
Yeah, go on, Jeff.
I mean, the impact, or not just Lucas Paquetá, but his family, over that duration must be immense.
Huge. I mean, you saw how emotional he was towards the end of last season in the Tottenham game, and it's been something that's been weighing on him for almost 2 years now. And the fact that he's managed to keep playing to the level that he has is something I'll never quite be able to wrap my head around. It's incredible.
I think as well for me, having played Alastair, I couldn't think of anything worse than, a case like this over his head where there was talks that it could be banned forever. You know what I mean? That's your livelihood. That's your family's livelihood. It's the sport you love. And you can tell by his performances last season, 4 goals, 6 assists last season. That's not the level that you'd say Paquetá, with his mind right, would get to.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he went from one day being on the verge of a move to the reigning champion,
Yes.
Reigning Premier League champions, to the next day being told that his career could be over. And it must have been the most difficult thing to have dealt with that over the last couple of years. All I can say is that we hope that Lucas Paquetá, without this hanging over him, returns to the world-class performances that we want to see.
I mean, that potential move to Manchester City that fell by the wayside, does that leave him with Lucas with any legal options available if he wanted to pursue that?
I mean, all we know at the moment is the results. We don't have the judgment, the written reasons, and we'll have to wait and see what that says to decide his next moves in terms of that kind of legal action or potential legal action. So it's something that we'll have to look at when we see that.
Mm. I mean, where do you, obviously you know him personally, we don't. Alastair, does he see his future now as being in this country, or has that, coloured his view of life in England?
I mean, one thing I will say is that West Ham have stood by him and stood behind him brilliantly. I don't think he has given a great deal of thought to his footballing future, frankly, because everything hinged on this verdict. And, that he may turn to that now, but I don't know what his plans are.
I think as well, Alastair, like we just spoke about, I mean, in any job, never mind when you're in the spotlight, football, anything's on your mind. Going on at home, but never mind a big thing like this. How are you meant to perform? How are you meant to be happy playing football and concentrate? So I can understand why his form did drop. And watching him play last season, I'm like, that's not Paquetá. That is not the Paquetá that we know.
I mean, he's a Brazilian magnifico. He's likes to play with a smile on his face, that kind of flair football. What we hope we'll see now is a return to that. When that weight is lifted, that kind of freedom to play as he wants to play will return.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.